Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm GC Smith, and welcome to the third day of the official Eldritch Moon spoiler season. And boy, do we have some really sweet cards today, including a new commander and a new standard combo piece. So let's get straight into it with Tree of Perdition. 3 and a black for a 0/13 mythic rare plant creature with Defender. It also has the ability to tap and exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness. Now, this card is absolutely sweet for a couple of reasons. First of which, it's kind of a mirror printing of a card from the original Innistrad called Tree of Redemption, which exchanged your life total with Tree of Redemption's 0/13 toughness. It was a really, really nice card, but wasn't very powerful back then. You know, gaining 13 life was okay, but that would only ever really happen once. And again, it wouldn't be gaining 13 life, it'd be gaining 4 or 5 life. And most likely that tree died anyway, being a mono green card, and there was just so much removal that just hit it. It wasn't a very viable card in that strategy at that time. To be fair though, it wasn't also part of a combo piece, which this is, because that's the second sweet thing about Tree of Perdition, is that it combos with Triskaidekaphobia. If you have both out in the field, your opponent is just dead unless they find a way to gain life at instant speed, or to kill Tree of Perdition before you get to activate it. It's a really sweet combo, and I just love the fact that there's a combo like this, it just adds inevitability to your deck in Standard. I'm not sure how powerful this combo will be, but I'm definitely brewing the deck in my head. But a quick note to everyone out there, this does not synergize with Morbid Tragic Slip. The Tree of Redemption's rulings mention that it has to be alive at the end to actually swap life total with toughness, and that'll be the exact same ruling of Tree of Perdition. It will have 0 toughness at the end, die, and won't be alive for the exchange to happen. So yeah, instead of your opponent dying like I think you'll think it does, it doesn't. So just a quick note there. Next up we have Graph Stapler, a 1-mana equipment card that gives equipped creatures +3/+3, and when equipped creature attacks, it doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And when it becomes unequipped from a creature, sacrifice it. It's also equipping for 2. Now this is a really interesting card in various ways, and I just want to say why. Firstly, this is a sweet card for the humans deck, because that deck just always has vigilance a lot of the time, because it has always watching, and so it gets to the point where this just doesn't have any downsides unless you want to re-equip it to something else. But it also plays really nice and Standard with thieving effects, because if you equip it to a creature you've stolen for a turn, so say thieving, I mean threaten effects. But again, if you equip this to a creature that you've stolen for a turn, you can then have that creature not untap in its controller's untap step, i.e. your opponent's next turn, allowing you to get an attacker or blocker out of the way. But also when you then go to re-equip this to one of your creatures, that creature gets sacrificed, which has some of these hidden synergies that could see play in Standard. I'm not saying it is going to in that kind of synergy. It's probably just going to see play in the human deck, if it does see play at all, that is. Which is a bit degenerate already. I don't know. The fact that white seems to be getting all these cool pieces, especially the human decks and all that, really makes me wonder what Wizards is doing. Do they know what they're doing? I don't know sometimes. I really don't. But anyway, moving on from that, we've got Curious Homunculus. 1 and a blue for a 1/1 Homunculus creature at uncommon, and it has the ability to tap to add a colourless mana to your pool that can only be spent on instants or sorcery spells. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more instants and or sorcery cards in your graveyard, you transform Curious Homunculus into Voracious Reader. This is an Eldrazi Homunculus creature. It's a 3/4 with prowess, and instant and sorcery spells the instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. I absolutely love this card, and it's really sweet with how people are already talking about it seeing play in Modern as a slot into the Delver deck, because it does turn into a really big creature when you get it going. But I think it might actually see some Standard play, like a red-blue tempo deck. It ramps you, it turns into a threat, it reduces the cost of all your cards. It's just really, really good. Plus, I love the flavour of it, of this homunculus trying to read, gains knowledge, and then when it gains so much knowledge and Emrakul appears, it just starts eating books to gain even more knowledge. I love the flavour, I love the art, and I love the card. I really hope this sees play. Plus, it's going to be sweet and limited in the red-blue spells deck, so again, that's another huge plus for it. Our penultimate card for today's spoilers is Bloodhall Priest. 2 black red for a 4/4 vampire cleric at rare, And it has the ability that whenever Bloodhall Priest enters the battlefield or attacks, if you have no cards in hand, Bloodhall Priest deals 2 damage to target creature or player. It also has Madness for 1 black-red. I really like this card, but I'm not sure it's enough to get the vampire decks off the ground. Vampire decks at the moment are really struggling due to the fact that they really just died to decks like Languish, have no real way to rebuild their hand. And while this card helps, I guess, if you've already got Olivia, it will survive Languish, assuming it's not the last card in your hand when you cast it. And it does go in well in the strategy of the fact that they kind of empty their hand quick, and this does stuff when your hand is empty, so that's a huge tick. But on the whole, I'm not sure this is enough to get the vampire decks off the ground. It's kind of too slow against the human or bank company decks. I just don't think it will do enough. And 2 damage just isn't enough to close the gap between those 2 decks. Sweet card, but I just don't think it's enough to get there. But a nice limited one, I think. A lot of the cards we've seen so far in the format kind of have 2 toughness or 3 toughness, and it just either attacks into them really well because it can deal 2 damage with its attack trigger. I don't know, it's just really sweet. And our final card today is Gisa and Geralf, or Gisa and Geralf. 2 blue-black for a 4/4 human wizard legendary creature at Mythic. When Gisa and Geralf enter the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard, and during each of your turns, you may cast a zombie creature card from your graveyard. Now, I'm not certain how this works. I'm not sure if it's just 1 card a turn. I know normally an ability templated like this normally says once per turn you may cast a zombie card from your graveyard. So I'm not certain if it is 1, but the grammar suggests it's only 1. I'm not so certain. We're going to have to wait for the rulings of this. But I absolutely love this card. Getting to build a black-blue zombies deck with Gisa and Geralf is really sweet. Like, we've already got Gisa and Geralf as individual cards. The problem is they're mono-black or mono-blue, and it just means you miss out on half the zombies that exist out there from Innistrad, or all the blue-black ones as well. So the fact that you can have a commander now that can include both their other legendary creature cards and a whole host of zombies is really sweet. Plus, I love the flavor text. These fiends are slightly less tolerable than you. A sentiment that warms my heart, sister. As in, they're playing off each other. I really like this, as they're like uniting against the Eldrazi on Innistrad. I don't know, I really love this card. If zombies ends up being a thing, obviously this will be a powerhouse in that deck. But more importantly, again, like I say, it's going to be a sweet commander card to build a zombie ETH deck. Really nice card. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I just can't say enough nice things about this card. So that's all the spoilers for today. I know there's not that many. I'm actually surprised at how few we had today. And we've still not had a Planeswalker, which again is incredibly surprising. That said, I'm really glad that they've managed to hide a lot of these really big cards we're expecting to see. And while we've had a few of the major story cards, Emrakul, Bruna and Gisela, whatever, we've already seen a few of these big cards. I absolutely love what they're doing and how they're spoiling it. Still waiting for some good control cards. I just want to build a top tier control deck and have control be a tier 1 deck again. So yeah, anyway, that's video for today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please look out for tomorrow and for the rest of the week, and next week, obviously, for any future spoilers that come from Wizards and any other sources. I'll be trying to cover those as well. I'll also be trying to do a few deck techs of interesting decks, like the Triska Decaphobia deck. Yeah, I just want to get a lot of stuff done this spoiler season. So hopefully you enjoy these videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to see all that stuff, and I'll see you next time.